This is how crazy things are getting. In the UK, police are investigating the first case of a girl who was virtually gang-ard in the metaverse. Now, she was a minor. She was 16. And apparently, I don't know if you're familiar with the metaverse, but in these waiting rooms and stuff, you can have like you create a little avatar, basically, and you can hang out and chat with other people, do small games and activities together. And I guess, she was 16. She was in one of these rooms, and a couple of players kind of ganged up on her, surrounded her, and did lewd gestures. Mainly this, I don't know if you can see, but when you go, oh, stuff like that. So lewd gestures, that's it. It's not like you can have some sort of naked avatar in these things. You can't. But apparently she was so traumatized by this encounter that the parents had to rush her to a psychiatrist, who then was a supposed mandatory reporter, had to report it to the police, and now investigating this essay. They're saying that there's an emotional and psychological impact on the victim that is longer term than any physical injuries and is comparable to a real life essay. That's how crazy, how can you even insinuate such a thing? So you're telling me players in Call of Duty can legitimately claim veteran benefits because they got PTSD or something? Is this what it's coming to? It's just nonsense. And this is trying to set a precedent. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not someone who wants to see minors be victimized on video games, but it's a common thing. You use a video game, you're playing a game, people are going to use lewd language, lewd gestures. That is just the way it is. When are we pushing things to this level where you're comparing a real life essay to a virtual one? That's the thing, because it's not even like, we're calling it virtual assault. No, they're using the word sexual. They're using the word gang-ard. That's where it's just insanity to me. Home Secretary James Cleverly defended the trailblazing VR probe. I know it is easy to dismiss this as being not real, but the whole point of these virtual environments is they're incredibly immersive. And we're talking about a child here, and a child has gone through sexual trauma. I'm sorry. What it says, he follows up by saying it will have a very significant psychological effect on her for the rest of her life, and we should take measures to protect children. See, this is this fear mongering. So this is where they get you, right? They're going to get you because they're going to pass legislation that's insane, but if you oppose it, then you don't care about protecting children. So you're not, look at this poor child. She was 16. Okay, yes, he's 16, you're a kid, but at the same time, you're on the cusp of adulthood. Here in America, you can drive, you can go out, you can do stuff. You are responsible enough to understand and responsibly use video games, VR, etc. In my opinion. Do I care about protecting children? Of course. But this is government overreach. This is just the next step. I remember back when I was younger, they were constantly on and on about violent video games and how these violent video games made people violent in real life when it was just a bunch of BS. Now they're stepping it up to these virtual gang-ards. I don't even want to say the word. It's just absolutely absurd. We are becoming hypersensitive to sexually related issues, in my opinion. Ever since the Me Too movement, it's kind of gotten blown up. People are so sensitive to it that really they think murder is not as bad as a essay. And they use things like, well, it's the psychological damage that goes on. And it's like, yeah, but when you're murdered, you're dead. And I don't know if this is like a hill I want to die on, and I don't even know if I'm expressing it correctly, but I have just seen this hypersensitivity kind of from the time of the Me Too movement. It's like reactionary, and I get it. We want to protect people. We don't want perverts in Hollywood. We don't want perverts in video games, but where are you drawing the line? Because there's the actresses that slept with the director to get land a role, then 20 years later they come in with charges. More girls 20, 25 years later come in. The Vin Diesel thing, another one would come back saying Vin Diesel whipped out his thing in a hotel. Now we got virtual shit going on. It's like, whoa, slow down. Let's define I thought we had defined what a sexual assault was. You know what I mean? But apparently we haven't. You know, this is the thing. The guys that participate in this or that did the gestures or whatever, probably kids themselves. Watch them try to slap them with 10 years in prison or something crazy when actual murderers and people who commit robberies get out scot-free with probation. Make it make sense.